Herzl, Ben-Gurion, Kissinger, and Machiavelli's principles. The fox, the lion, and the manipulator, Machiavelli's thread through history. History is a theater where vision, action, and influence intersect. Across centuries, the principles of Niccolò Machiavelli, cunning, decisiveness, and the management of perception, have guided figures as diverse as Theodor Herzl, David Ben-Gurion, and Henry Kissinger. Though their domains differed, prophecy, state-building, and global diplomacy, their strategies reflect the same Machiavellian truths. Survival demands foresight, sovereignty requires execution, and power is realized through manipulation. Herzl, the fox of prophecy. In late 19th century Europe, Theodor Herzl stood as a fox among indifferent lions. Witnessing the pervasive anti-Semitism of his time, he conceived Der Judenstaat, a blueprint for the survival of the Jewish people. Herzl's genius lay in foresight and cunning. He negotiated with emperors, sultans, and financiers, leveraging their competing interests to legitimize his vision. His Greater Israel was not a conquest but a sanctuary, a strategic and moral refuge. Through diplomacy, fundraising, and institution building, Herzl demonstrated Machiavelli's principle that appearance can be as powerful as reality. Even without territory, his vision galvanized a dispersed people and shaped their collective strategy. 2. Ben-Gurion, the lion of execution. Where Herzl wrote prophecy, David Ben-Gurion delivered it with force. Confronted by hostile neighbors and the collapse of the British Mandate, he proclaimed Israel's independence in May 1948 and transformed Herzl's vision into reality. Ben-Gurion embodied the lion, decisive, courageous, and unflinching. He built the Israel Defense Forces, centralized governance, and secured recognition from world powers. Machiavelli's lesson, that it is better to be feared than loved when necessary, resonates in Ben-Gurion's leadership. His moral aim of survival was reinforced by practical enforcement. Vision alone could not protect a fledgling state. 3. Kissinger, the manipulator of empires. Henry Kissinger inherited the dual legacy of Herzl and Ben-Gurion, applying Machiavellian principles on a global scale. He combined foresight with decisive action, but his arena was the balance of superpowers. Information control, mastery of secrecy, intelligence, and selective disclosure. Strategic alliances, shaping relations between the U.S., the Soviet Union, China, and the Middle East. Crisis exploitation, turning conflicts and political upheavals into leverage. Kissinger demonstrates Machiavelli's principle that power is relational. Alliances, perception, and timing are as decisive as armies. Unlike Herzl or Ben-Gurion, his goal extended beyond one people or state. It was the orchestration of influence across continents. 4. Machiavelli's thread across strategy. Across prophecy, execution, and manipulation, the following principles emerge. Duality of fox and lion. Cunning planning paired with decisive action. Perception as power. Legitimacy often relies on appearance as much as on reality. Pragmatism over ideology. Strategy must adapt to circumstance. Morality can guide but not constrain. Information as leverage. Propaganda, secrecy, and messaging shape outcomes. Strategic alliances exploit rivalries and negotiate advantage. Opportunity and timing. Fortune favors the prepared and the decisive. Herzl applied these principles to national survival, Ben-Gurion to state building, and Kissinger to global diplomacy, illustrating how Machiavelli's insights scale across domains. Greater Israel versus the Greater Middle East. The distinction between Herzl's Greater Israel and the U.S.-led Greater Middle East project underscores the ethical and practical consequences of Machiavellian strategy. Herzl, defensive, moral, limited in scope, survival of a people. GMEC, offensive, instrumental, vast in scope, control of regions to serve foreign power interests. Lesson: ambition alone is insufficient. Strategic foundations and ethical framing determine whether greater leads to refuge or chaos. 6. Conclusion: theater of history. From Herzl's fox to Ben-Gurion's lion to Kissinger's manipulator, the principles of Machiavelli weave a continuous thread. Prophecy without action is empty. Execution without foresight is brittle. Power without perception is fragile. Strategy, morality, and timing converge to shape survival, sovereignty, and influence. In the theater of nations, those who master the fox, the lion, and the manipulator control destiny, while those who mistake ambition for wisdom become mere actors in another's play.